President Biden and McCarthy are rapidly approaching a deal on the U.S. debt ceiling as default looms. Thursday, President Joe Biden and top congressional Republican Kevin McCarthy appeared to be nearing a deal that would cut spending and raise the government's $0.4 trillion debt ceiling. The deal would specify the total amount the government could spend on discretionary programs like housing and education, according to a source familiar with the talks, but not break that down into individual categories. The two sides are only billion apart on a total figure that would be well over trillion, according to another source. On Thursday evening, representatives from both the White House and the Republican Party said that further negotiations were still necessary. Representative Garrett Graves, the top Republican negotiator, told reporters that conversations would continue into the night. The Republican negotiators had backed off plans to increase military spending while cutting non-defense spending, instead advocating for a more equal split of budget cuts. Biden was not convinced and said they still disagreed over where the cuts should fall. "I don't believe the whole burden should fall back to middle-class and working-class Americans," he told reporters. Graves said the White House is refusing to negotiate on work requirements for anti-poverty programs, which he called crazy. He said disagreements over funding Social Security and Medicare versus work requirements remain an issue between the two sides. "We have a lot of hang-ups, but that's one of the big ones," he said as he left McCarthy's office, adding that, "We're not going to stop negotiating." It is unclear precisely how much time Congress has left to act. Treasury Department warned that it could not cover all its obligations as soon as June 1, but on Thursday said that it would sell billion worth of debt that will come due on that date. This suggests to some market watchers that the deadline may not have been ironclad after all. Any agreement will have to pass the Republican-controlled House of Representatives and the Democratic-controlled Senate. The Republicans hold a majority in the House, but not in the Senate. That could be tricky. As some right-wing Republicans and many liberal Democrats said they were upset by the prospect of compromise. Lawmakers are expected to come back into session if a deal is reached. A deal on federal spending is likely by Friday afternoon, according to sources. The deal would set broad spending outlines but leave lawmakers to fill in the blanks in the weeks and months to come. Biden has resisted Republican proposals to stiffen work requirements for anti-poverty programs and loosen oil and gas drilling rules, according to Representative Mark Takano. Time's up. Democrats on Thursday focused their attacks on the potential for devastating cuts to federal aid for veterans if Republicans get their way in the negotiations. "Time's up for all of these games around here," Democratic Representative Don Davis said at a press conference. A U.S. default could upend global financial markets and push the United States into recession. A credit rating agency, DBRS Morningstar, warned on Thursday that it may downgrade the United States credit rating if a debt ceiling standoff doesn't end soon. Another agency, S&P Global, downgraded U.S. debt following a similar debt ceiling standoff in 2011. Deputy Treasury Secretary Wally Adeyemo said that concerns about the debt ceiling have pushed up government interest costs by millions thus far. House lawmakers will need to vote on any debt ceiling bill before they can read it. McCarthy has said that any deal must cut discretionary spending next year and cap spending growth in the years to come, in order to slow the growth of the U.S. debt now equal to the annual output of the economy. Biden has offered to freeze spending at current levels next year and proposed several tax increases to help curb the debt. Lawmakers on the right and left flanks are growing frustrated with one another. Republican Representative Chip Roy, a member of the hard-right Freedom Caucus, has insisted that any deal must include the sharp spending cuts they passed last month. Some Democrats, meanwhile, say Biden has not been vocal enough about the downsides to Republicans' proposed spending cuts. In contrast, McCarthy has been briefing reporters multiple times per day.
I want to say a big thank you for your incredible support in the channel. If you haven't already, Please hit that subscribe button to stay connected and join our community of finance and politics enthusiasts. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement means the world to us. Remember, knowledge is power. Stay informed, stay curious, and keep seeking the truth.